Ah, boy, how the good news just keeps on coming. They reckon good news comes in threes. So the latest big news out here in Australia is we've got a new Governor General. Now, the Governor General in Australia it's basically a ceremonial type position, but that's what they say. But I don't think so. I think it's a lot more than that. But basically, the Governor General is the Queen's representative, because we're still part of the Commonwealth. So that's our system here. Because we're part of the Commonwealth, we've got our own Parliament. We use the Westminster system they use in the UK, but it's a different type of system. And the Governor General is the Queen's representative. We actually had the Governor General dismiss a government in 1975, Gough Whitlam, something about blocking of supply or something. It was before my time. I'm not really up to with what happened, but he dismissed the government. There was a general election and the Liberals got in a landslide apparently. So we've got a new Governor General. His name's David Hurley. He's got some grand army title because he served in the army. He's better than anyone else. And so he's got this grand title, and everybody goes goo, everybody goes gah over this new fella who's our Governor General. And drum roll, guess what? He's a Freemason. Isn't that a shock? I was shocked when I saw it. Just Google David Hurley Freemason, and that's all you see is just how good a work he's done, his humanitarian efforts, how good he's done in the community with his Freemason endeavours. It's just like it's like these philanthropists. There was a show once called The Night Manager, a TV show. This really reminds me of that. The philanthropists, and they do all this fabulous work, and it just masks all the bad shit they do. And no one gives a shit about all the bad stuff they do because they do all this good stuff. Bill Gates is another one. He gives away millions of dollars that he's got, but all the shit that he's doing about vaccines, and the fact he's on record saying that the best form of population control is through our continued use of vaccines, no one cares. Oh, but he's Bill Gates. He's fabulous. He's wonderful. He gives away all this money. It's the same with this bloke. He's just a Freemason. Now, just to recap, this week, we've had the three fantastic pieces of news here in Australia, all within about 5 days of each other. We had the announcement that we're going to get a space agency. $41 million a year is going to be spent on the best cartoonists in Australia, giving us their views and their ideas on what this space fallacy looks like. And then we had the news that we're moving the embassy to Jerusalem. And now we've got the news that our new Governor General is indeed a Freemason. So fantastic. We're on a roll here in Australia. And these Freemasons, they're not innocent, they're not perfect, they're not good people. They are horrendous, abhorrent people who represent Satan. It was all Freemasons who alleged they went to the moon. That's another one that's happening now. We're drip feeding the truth of the moon through these other Freemasons, telling people that they didn't go to the moon, and the whole thing's just a circle jerk for these people. If indeed they are people, they are from a different bloodline, that's for sure, and they've all got a completely different blood type. So when you lose those extra, like that last bit of cognitive dissonance that I had for my country, when you start to really research it and you really start to look into it, we are neck deep into this. We are neck deep. We are just as bad as the other countries. I think the UK is the worst country of them all. You look at that Theresa May, she's obviously not human. She's got a different blood type to the rest of us. You look at her and she's just a creature. And she oversees that whole thing in England where Jimmy Savile arranged the kiddies for the politicians. That's why he's got photos with them all. And we just ride on their coattails. And of course, everybody is on the coattails of America, on their leads looking to pleasure America, who of course, and the rest of us all as well, we're on our knees looking to pleasure Israel, who are basically, that's where Satan manifests. And you're going to have the Antichrist sitting on their great temple at some point, where the temple that God and Jesus talked about was the temple of Christ. It's a spiritual body of which I'm a part of. But where these Jews get this idea that it's a physical building that God wants, and God just doesn't roll like that. Jesus certainly doesn't roll like that. And that's what all this is. So we're moving our embassy to Jerusalem. We've got a space agency, and now we've got a Governor General who's a Freemason. And I almost forgot, we've got a Prime Minister who professes to be a Christian that goes to Hillsong Church, which is basically the synagogue of Satan. So Australia, I'm afraid we're in it neck deep as well. And those of us awake, we're all over it. And as I always say, the only way out is through the blood of Christ.